Namaste, Amy.
Namaste. Right, let's put it in gallery view. Everything's going to be flawless today, for sure.
Beautiful. So everybody can see both of us. So happy to be here to hang out
Yeah,
with you again. And I can't wait to see what we're talking about today.
so the topic that we decided on for today, since we've got a lot of people who are dealing with things like this, is letting go and how to cope with change and transition periods. Because I know that myself and a lot of people that I know are dealing with this right now. So yeah, and just in the spirit of change, I've got this new setup. Hopefully the sound is all good because we've got a new microphone and yeah, transition.
And the lighting and
Ring
everything.
Because I noticed that Jing always looks super amazing. She's got her ring light on, so I've got a ring light too.
So ring light is the secret, right? To looking beautiful on camera.
Yeah, this is I need to get used to all of this because yeah, I was just noticing, Jing, you just always look so good. Right.
Thank you.
I need to up my game in order to
you're looking amazing all the time. And the ring light just gives that extra glow. It's the artificial glow from the external, but you have that internal glow, as a result of being a spiritual practitioner, right? And then for a lot of us in this circle, we have that inner glow.
Yeah, we always talk about how good master skin is. It's always like shiny.
Oh God, yeah. I know, right?
I don't be
it's a yoga meditation.
It's very, very like bright and shiny and clear. So even actually in person, I was thinking, wow, he has really good skin. So maybe next week I'll actually brush my hair. You never know. Just maybe level up, straighten my hair and everything next week.
I thought you just came straight out of a salon. What are you talking about?
I don't brush my hair because since I dyed it blonde, it actually looks better wavy. So then it's like, oh, cool. I don't have to do anything to it. And then sometimes I just go a while without brushing it. And this
right. No one can tell. Don't spill the secret, okay?
Actually, yours look like maybe did you go a little red?
Oh, so actually I got some color, like some what do you call it? Highlights. Yes. There's some highlights in here. I know everyone who's watching right now, you must be wondering, are we talking about beauty this episode?
Yeah,
we'll
really.
get to our topic in a second. But let us be girls, okay? Girls will always be girls. And you girls who are watching right now, I hope you don't mind we're talking about some beauty hair stuff. There's like this section. You can see this section of my hair has a bit of highlight. Everything else is just like black and I got lots of grays. Because this is actually from my wedding last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because for my wedding, because they do all this like styling for your hair, and I was advised to get highlights in my hair so that the style will pop or will look more 3D, right? So it doesn't look flat. So I had highlights in my hair, some streaks, lots of streaks in my hair, and so this section is very dry. And it looks good, because I go back to the same hairdresser. She's like, oh, just, blend into it and let it grow out. So I guess it's still serving me. That's really good. The best $300 I've ever spent. It lasts me for over a year.
It just looks more red today. This is really appropriate, actually. It looks more red. There's something coming out of it today. I'm wondering if it's
my poncho.
Time of the year. I don't know what it's like in Canada for you right now, but it's getting into autumn season now.
Same here.
Fall, as we call it. So everywhere is sort of this burnt orangey red as the leaves are falling. And one of my friends posted on Facebook that this is the color of feminine energies, the lower chakras, the root chakra, and the sacral chakra. So red for the root chakra, and I think orange for the sacral chakra. So it's very, very associated with divine feminine. And actually, we're kind of matching. And my favorite color scheme is definitely red. So. Yeah.
Red is actually one of my favorite colors. And for those people who follow me and have been friends with me for some time, you may have noticed that I wear a lot of red. In my photos or in my videos, I do wear a lot of red and some very bright, what do you call it? Like hot pink shades or orange. Yeah, that's actually, I don't know why, I can't explain why I love this color. It just gives me so much energy and so much vitality.
Science.
Yes, that's right.
It's the highest frequency color. So it has the highest frequency red has. So it's a high vibe color. It's
Write this down,
yes.
everybody. Amy said. Scientist Amy
You
said.
can check it on the ultraviolet, the light spectrum. It's the visible light spectrum. It is the highest energy, the highest frequency, because frequency is related to energy when it comes to light. Yeah,
Right.
it's the highest
That's a
energy
good
around.
reminder. Beautiful for that. Yeah. So if you want to feel more activated, more revitalized, surround yourself with lots of red. And I guess that is why color therapy is so popular, right? For a lot of people to heal. Um, I remember when I was studying chakras, like the different chakra, like you just mentioned, right? Red, is actually red is our root chakra.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a second if you guys want to talk about that. But without moving away from our main topic for today, we just want to quickly mention that different colors can actually do wonders to help you heal, and also tying in with our topic today, how to cope with changes and how to let go. You can also use some color therapy to help you. So I'm gonna pass over to Amy and to speak about, like, why do you think this time of the year so many of us, like, it's not just women but men too, but I think especially women, so many women are going through different types of changes. Some are planned, maybe a lot of the changes are unexpected.
This is interesting, actually. It's been on my mind this week. A lot is change, because it's been a big change time in my life. Second big change in a year, and the I really look at nature when we look at the changing seasons, and I'm just watching the trees, and the leaves are falling, and one of the, let's say, we've just had the full moon, as Jing mentioned at the beginning,
Right.
and then so even on an energetic level, there's shifts. Obviously, there's we're going into another shift maybe in terms of what's globally happening right now. There's a lot of change happening anyway, actual real, manifested physical changes happening in the world, not just the seasons, not just the virus, not just all of the going into lockdown, coming out of lockdown, possibly going into lockdown again, but then energetically too, we're all feeling that shift, and we're having some micro changes, some micro shifts within our own little realities as well. And the really interesting question that came to my mind this week was, who taught me, who programmed me to fear change? Because I was watching the leaves falling off the trees, and I was thinking, it's that's a big change, right? They've got their full beautiful covering, and then all of a sudden this season hits and everything starts to just drop to the point where they just lose everything that they are, and it's not like the
changes.
Exactly, and the color changes and everything, and it's not like the trees are going, no.
I know. It's only, the beautiful thing is it's not the entire tree, it's just the leaves, right? But the trunk, the branches, they're still the same, right? I found that very, very beautiful. It's a bit like, the way I see it, it's a bit like when we will regenerate, when our skin cells, regenerate, the dead skin shed off, and then we have new skin, and the hair as well, hair sheds, and then we grow new hair. Kind of like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's actually a beautiful point. So the tree itself is not what the tree is, is changing very little, but its outer reality, its outer appearance is just changing. And we can relate that to what happens in our lives. It's not like, the biggest change you could maybe imagine in your life right now, it would be different for every single person. I moved house this year, changed my whole career path this year, and twice, and then and I've done that a lot in my life too. I've changed countries, a lot, changed career paths a lot, just trying to find my my place in the world, my purpose. And but then, as Jing was just mentioning with the tree, which is beautiful, the fundamental tree is not changing, and who we are is not changing, but we are attached to all the small, let's say, parts of our reality that are changing. And that was my big question was, because I noticed this quote from The Lion King, and I posted it, was when Rafiki, honestly, Rafiki is like, you could live your life. I really want to talk to Rafiki in person, the baboon in The Lion King, because he's so wise.
There's always like a sage in every
Yeah,
cartoon, right?
exactly. But I wish Rafiki was real. I wish I could sit down and have a conversation with him. Anyway, Simba says to Rafiki, the winds are changing, and Rafiki said, change is good. And this actually, Master even said that to me a couple of weeks ago. Change is good. And then Simba goes, yeah, but it's not easy, right? And when I think that is the social, I would say, norm response to a change is happening.
Yeah.
We find ourselves saying it either subconsciously or actually saying the words. And I know I can just count the number of people that have said over my lifetime, oh, change is difficult. It's not easy to change, right? That's the accepted truth. But
it's a conditioning already. Yeah. We get brainwashed to think that way.
And so I was just trying to rewind in my life and think, well, who told me that change, or who subconsciously programmed me to believe or feel that change should be difficult? What if change was the opposite? What if change was easy, right? How would that impact your life? Just have a think about that for a second. How would you live your life differently if that you had no resistance to change whatsoever? And when we go, I was rewinding back to, I guess, like the moment of birth, right? That's not maybe easy for a baby to be suddenly warm and cozy for 10 months, and then boom, that was your biggest change, right? But and baby cries, it's tough, but then it's not like baby gets there and it's like, I'm going back in.
Right, no. Exactly. There's no turning back.
No, what happens is, all of a sudden there's a lot of amazing, beautiful new experiences for the baby, like beyond its like wildest dreams while it was inside of the womb, and its world was limited so much, like that can meet people, it can experience like colors and and life and emotions and communication and interaction with other people, with its love for its mother and father and siblings and everything like that. And it's just amazing. So it's not like it's just going to say, actually, screw this, this is too much, this is just too much, I'm going back in. It doesn't happen that way. The baby just accepts it. And I remember my son, when he was little, he went through a lot of changes within his first few years. And at the time, that's happening, and he's having to say goodbye to pets, toys, things like that, different houses. It is a little tough for him, but he just suddenly used to just transition and accept it really, really quickly. And then now it's taking him a little bit longer. And I think as we go on through our lives, we get more and more attached to things and people and places, and then our clinging, our resistance to change just increases because of that.
Absolutely. I love what you shared here, Amy. While you're talking, it reminds me of like in our yoga practice, we're always reminded to be adaptable, right? Being adaptable, being flexible, be like water is actually one of the, I'll say maybe the highest qualities that we're always reminded to be as yoginis and yogis. And, you mentioned about the birth, right? I think the moment that we're born, we're ready for changes. Like we're here to face changes, right? Every moment, actually, if you think about it, changes are actually a constant, right? Like people want to remain the same. They want to stick to a routine. And we've been taught that, being conditioned that changes are scary, they're risky, unknown. But the thing is, like, actually, we're going through changes all the time. That's actually the constant, right?
That's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, right? Like every moment that we have a thought, we have something, we're actually changing. But then again, we're like, what we're talking about here is actually, we're talking about the big, the big scale changes, which basically drags you out of like that comfort zone, out of the mother's womb, the cozy blanket. I call it cozy blanket. And also, what else? It really challenges you. And also it really kind of like forces you to detach, right? Detach from things. And like you said, you made a really good point there. The older we are, the older we get, the harder it is to like separate ourselves from something that we've been attached to, something we're used to, and then learning, the older we are, the harder it is to like learn to adapt to a new environment or to accept new things, right? So, that's, I think the way I see it is that it's actually kind of like a human nature, I think, in the, how should I say it? Okay, so that's like the average human nature. Let me put it this way. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel like that's the way average humans are conditioned to be like that. That, oh, it's hard to change. Like, give an example, right? Learning a new language. It's always easier when you're younger, to pick up a new language, and it takes you less time, right, to master. Whereas like the older you are, even if you say 5 years older, than say you compare a 5-year-old to a 10-year-old, it takes the 10-year-old a little bit longer time. If you have a 15-year-old comparing to a 10-year-old, then it's a bigger struggle for the 15-year-old to learn a new language, let alone like adults over the age of 30, 40, 50, right? So, I'm just pointing that out as an example.
Yeah.
And, the changes that you mentioned, a lot of people going through right now, some are actually pretty interesting. Like, like you mentioned about career changes and, relocation. A lot of people are going through, like the people I know are going through like relationship changes, and not just romantic relationship, but like, family and friendship circle. And some of it is actually to do with personal changes. And, I think that's something interesting we can touch on as well. Like the personal changes. I think everything stems from personal changes, right?
I think it's really interesting. And this was another thought that I had in my mind. What Jing mentioned earlier is that we have this big resistance to change, right? I have my ex used to always say, I don't like change, and I find it very, very hard to change, and I just won't accept changes very easily. And then that was his, like, he was very solid in that, and very like, no, this is my way. I don't like changes. But what's really funny about that is life and the physical nature and is actually saying, well, tough, because on a cellular level, every second cells are dying and new cells are
reborn,
being made.
not reborn,
and they're not going like, no, don't leap to his next door neighbor, don't leave me, I can't cope without you. And then, oh, a new one's been born, how beautiful. No, they're just getting on with it. So whether or not we like change or don't like change, it's happening. It's tough. Either way, right? It's going to happen. Whether you like change or don't like change makes no difference to the fact that changes will happen. It makes a difference to how uncomfortable they are. And to get a sense of what's going on energetically, I've been thinking about this a lot and contemplating this a lot this week. Is why is change so hard for humans when the trees can just let go of and like all of their leaves and not resist it at all, and just accept it and flow with it and trust that probably there'll be new leaves. So I think it's really comes down to the fact that the lower chakras that we were talking about in the beginning, they carry very dense energy. They carry all of our pain, our resistance, our trauma, all of the pain of all the times that we ever lost something, and all of the trauma of all the times that we ever felt that pain, that grief, losing something, detaching, is stored there. And it's almost like that's like anchoring us down. So life is trying to flow and carry us with us. And then these dense energies are like just grounding us and being like, no, I'm not changing. It's painful. I have evidence to prove how painful it is. It really, really hurts. I'm not changing. It's not going to happen. So maybe just to get a sense of why it's so difficult and why it's so uncomfortable for us to feel change is maybe one step of the way. And then I don't know, Jing, you've got any advice on how to maybe deal with big changes in your life?
Actually, I totally agree with what you said there, right? And also to add to what Amy just said, like I think part of us that instinctively wants to resist changes. I mean, apart from the social conditioning, the brainwashing, but also like instinctively we resist changes too. It's actually coming from, just based on my studying and my observation, it's actually coming from our survival instinct. We need to keep ourselves safe. We need to protect ourselves, our body, our mind, especially our mind. Where the mind is always in that default mode of, okay, protecting, don't do anything stupid, don't do anything that's outrageous, right? Just play safe, right? Stay in your zone, stay in your lane, put your head down, right? So I think I'm just trying to describe what a mind will be if it was a person. It will be a very quiet, very obedient, and like don't do anything kind of person, right? So we gotta understand that, but also understand the fact that if we don't actually challenge ourselves, if we don't actually adapt to the changes and accept the changes and become friends with the changes, then we're actually staying stagnant. We're actually not moving anywhere. I mean, we'll still be moving because like we already established that changes are happening all the time, whether if you want it or not. Like, for example, one thing all of us cannot resist, one change. So boys and girls, if you're watching right now, take note of this. One big change that we cannot resist is growing up. Aging.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I try not to use the word aging, but the minute we're born, we start to like grow and age, and right. So we cannot resist that. Like I remember a lot of people have written songs and made artworks about like, I don't want to grow up. Right. I don't know if you heard some artworks about it, but I remember I've heard some songs about singing about I don't want to grow up. Right. I want to stay as a child forever. But that's not possible because we are growing. And whether if you want or not, you have to go from primary school to high school. And then after high school, whatever you want to do is your choice. Right? And then you got to move on with, what this being, not just the body, this whole being, body, mind, spirit, need to be doing at this certain time. So that's something we cannot resist. And then, as part of nature, as part of this whole universe, everything just comes in to challenge you. You can see these as assignments and signs from the universe, from God, right? Giving you the assignments. The changes are assignments to test you and see if you're ready for certain things or not. Changes are there to actually give you opportunities to enter into a new chapter. And that's the way I've come to see, what changes are. To answer your question, the solution to that is for everybody, if there's any particular manifestation that you have right now, your number one, think about your number one manifestation. I don't know what it is, only you know. Feel free to write in the chat box. We got quite a few of our favorite ladies watching right now. Leah, Ara, Candice. Yeah, they've dropped quite a lot of good comments here. Right. So feel free to let us know what changes you are going through right now personally. And also if any of the things that we talk about here can be quite useful for you. So firstly, recognize what changes are happening right now in your life. And then also recognize the resistance. If you're resisting the change, if you say, you really, really don't want to like accept the change, you want to stay, with the old energy, then also recognize your resistance. Why you're resisting it? Is it because, for example, you really don't want the new result? You really don't want to move on and have a new, direction in life, right? Or, you are happy with where you are right now, or you are not happy with where you are not right, where you are right now, but you just don't want to go through the hard work and the discomfort to create a new result for yourself. So recognize what is your resistance, and then how many steps? Okay, so step 2. And then step 3 is to actually tell yourself that, every change happens for a reason, right? Whether if you created it consciously, you decided to like make a change, like move or leave someone or something like that, right? Or it just happened. It just kind of like thrown at you from the universe. You have to accept it and tell yourself that this is good for me. Okay, don't say that this is bad for me, this change. Tell yourself that this change doesn't matter what it is. It really sucks right now, but it's good for me because something's gonna come out of it. And I know that whether if I'm gonna come out of getting the result or not getting the result, but it's gonna be good for me. I'm not gonna die. Okay.
Yeah.
So so that is the attitude to go about it. I mean, there are many like steps that are kind of like dealing with some reprogramming your subconsciousness and different things. I'm not going to go into details about it. These are the things that I do with my students in our body confidence coaching. It would take some time, so I don't want to go into spare everybody the the time, and that I'm not going to go into details. But yeah, so it's very important to recognize that, and also to create that shift and see changes as good, and see the changes as assignments from the universe
Totally agree. This is,
right?
I think as Jing was speaking, then I was remembering my dad. So it's like when we've got it's fear, right? It all comes down to fear, this resistance to change.
Yeah.
We're afraid of what might happen, and we're afraid of what we might lose, and we're afraid of what if it doesn't work out. Okay, and as Jing was just saying there, that's when these fears come up, rather than just getting all caught up in them. It's your evolutionary, it's your ego, when I say ego, I'm not going to say, oh, we don't like ego bad. No, your ego is trying to protect you, right? Thank you, ego. You've been trying to protect me my whole life, just like, the overprotective parent. The job of the ego in this sense is to be like, hang on, have we considered what could possibly go wrong and how you might get hurt? That's what the fear is trying to say. It's like my dad, right? Every time I would try and make a change, a big decision, he would present me with all of the possible things that could go wrong, right? All of the worst case scenarios. And then like what would, hold on a second. Yes, Louis? Come here a sec.
Both be all quiet.
Right, so Louis
Hi,
just gone through
Louis.
a really big change, haven't you? You've changed house and school
I know,
and
good on you.
friends and everything. Now, if you think about it, would you say that this has been a good change and that you're happy with all of the changes? Yeah, but was it tough?
Look at that.
Yeah, was it tough?
Yeah.
But now we think like it's just you're much happier, aren't you? You like your school and you like your friends. Yeah, give me a hug.
I'll see you with lots of new best buddies.
Right.
Good on you.
Just come and ask me if they can play. You can play downstairs. Yeah. Okay, but
we'll all be quiet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was doing the boxing thing. I remember last time.
Yeah, and just make sure the rabbit stays in the cage. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the thing with my dad would tell me all of the worst case scenarios, everything that could possibly go wrong. And initially what I would used to do is I'd just get down and think, well, I can't do it then. But actually, when I'd stay calm, I just answer his questions, right? Okay, yeah, I appreciate you giving me that concern. Let me check in with it. How is that going to work? Well, I've considered that and work with it calmly. Then it's the same kind of thing that you need to do with your ego. It's like, well, I see you're trying to protect me. Thank you. But I've got this. This is good. Yeah, as Jing was saying, when you're going through these changes and you're noticing that resistance and you're noticing that fear, maybe just because it's hard to just sometimes maybe say, oh, I don't need to feel this fear. Everything's good. I love change. Maybe that's difficult, but maybe just even asking yourself the question, is it possible that this change could be good for me? Even like, for example, say it's a change that you can't even control. You got fired from work and then you're dealing with all this fear and what am I going to do now? And I haven't got any money now. I don't even know what I'm doing in my life now and all of that. Instead of maybe going there, ask yourself the question, is it possible that this could be good for me? Is it possible that something even better might come along? So not trying to force yourself to feel something or cover up your fear or suppress the fear, but even just say, allow for the possibility. And because if I look back on all my life, and there's been a lot of changes, I would never look at any of them, even if at the time I was resisting it like crap, like really, really resisting it. This is the most terrible thing that's ever happened to me, things like that. I couldn't look back on any of them and see that I didn't either learn something huge from it or that it didn't allow something more beautiful into my life. It's just like imagine if you asked the universe, you wanted to manifest a new phone, right? I want to get like the brand new iPhone or something like that. This is not iPhone. I don't do iPhone, but yeah. I want a new phone, right? Imagine the universe is coming along and it's like, well, give me the old one. And you're like, no, I don't want to let this go. I know I love this phone. I've had this phone for years. It's got all my pictures on and everything. I'm used to this phone. I need to hold on to this phone. The universe is like, let go of the damn phone. I can't give you a new one while you're holding on to that one. Let go of it, for goodness sake. This is what change is really about, particularly if we've asked for these things, if we've asked to try and manifest them. We're going to need to let go, clear some space before the new stuff comes in. But still, even then, we have to laugh at ourselves because we're like, no, I love this phone. I'm not letting go. No, I love it. It's too hard. It's too difficult. So we can't accept the new, as Jing was saying, the new changes, the new growth, the new opportunities coming in if we don't let go of the old.
Right, right. That's very beautiful. The whole iPhone, Android, whatever. The iPhone scenario, the example you gave is really, really amazing. And while you're talking, I saw we have a comment coming from Leah, and she's amazing. She's responding to everything we're saying. And the last thing she said is about she's finding it hard to let go of her ex-boyfriend. And ever since I left him, so many good things are happening, but still hard to let go. And this actually kind of relates quite well to what you just talked about here, that you want to change your phone, but you don't want to let go of the old phone, right? So, and also the moment that you still have something attached to the old energy, then, you cannot fully, I should say, okay, not fully moving on, but you don't have the full space. You're not creating that whole empty space for the new energy to come in, right? There's still like, I don't know, a corner. Let's imagine a room. I always use like architectural examples for some reason, maybe because of my architectural background. Imagine the whole room, right? You clean up the whole room, like say, for example, you want to do yoga. So you're like, okay, let me declutter the space, pack away the furniture, pack away everything, nothing, just empty. And then you have space to lay out the mats, right? What if you're like, oh, I don't want to let go of this chair, for example. Let's say that chair is the ex-boyfriend or something like that. You're like, I really don't want to let go of this chair. It's kind of taking up space, but because I made this chair myself. Or, oh, I went through a lot of trouble in a secondhand store and I found this vintage. It's so good, even though this chair is doing nothing, right? Because it holds that special, I don't know, some special thing for you. So you have that sentimental attachment to it. But the chair in reality does not serve, it doesn't do anything for this yoga room, right? It's not like a proper yoga practicing chair. Mm-hmm. It's like an old rocking leather chair, for example. And that really has no direct, benefit and function to the purpose of your room, right? But you're leaving it there because you just don't want to let go. You think even just for decoration looks good, right? So imagine the space that it's taking up. And you're not able to actually fully clear up this whole room and welcome new energy. So because of that chair, you're not able to fit, say, the 10 students that you want to have, right? And you can only fit 8 because of that chair's taking up the space. And then, the whole energy is changed because the whole space is meant to be for the purpose of serving 10 students, but now you can only serve 8 students. So going back to real life situation, I found from my personal experience, okay, so this is probably something for everybody who's going through the similar situation where you kind of still hang on to someone from the past. Trust me on this. If you still kind of hang on to someone, have teensy-weensy feeling for someone, or for whatever reason that you feel like you can't fully let go of this person, you will never be able to fully enjoy, that's the word, enjoy the company of a new person, right? Like, I've been through this myself, whether if you're subconsciously comparing a new person that comes into your life, you may subconsciously comparing this person to the old person, right? Or, some ways, you may actually kind of like, actually, that is actually a good example, comparing. Like, I think of that as the most obvious one because you still hang on to someone so that when you have someone new here, you're not able to fully embrace this person. This person may have like different facets, but because part of you still hang on to that person. So you're like, okay, yeah, let me kind of like, hang out with this new energy, dance around with it, check it out. But, oh, this person is not as tall as my ex, for example. Oh, this person doesn't do these things that my ex used to do for me, right? So I just feel like energetically, emotionally, there's always that comparison there because you haven't fully let go of that energy or whatever it is that the impact it made for you. So like that's what happened to me. And until I could fully let go and really, have that clean cut, the detachment, then I'm able to really embrace the new energy in my life without comparing, without having the influence of any old energy. So that's a very practical solution to that. So we're like circling back to relationship again.
That's actually something that was on my mind to relate this to for sure. Is it definitely relates to breakups, and I love the example with the chair. I had this really nice visual of in my mind the whole time of the chair and everything. So. To answer Leah's question, I would want to ask if I was speaking to Leah in person right now, I would want to ask you, so, or maybe say to you that actually you, Leah, the woman, you have let go of him. it's not you, Leah, the real Leah, the woman who can't let go of your ex, right? So for a moment, just maybe ground yourself in that. So then maybe take a look in and check in and say, so what part of me is still clinging on, right? Because it's not all the time. If you couldn't let go of him, then 100% of the time, if you, like the fundamental essence of Leah, could not let go of your ex, then 100% of the time, you would be on your mind, and you would be feeling that pull like 100% of the time during the day and the night. But that's not the case, is it? There's times when you're, you know, enjoying what you're doing and you forget about it. So that tells me that it's not you that is clinging onto him. It's some aspect of you. There's a cord there. It was oftentimes we have like an emotional cord with a person when we are in a relationship with them, and it's very, very strong. And it's an energy exchange between you and that person. And there's that holding on there to the cord and the feeling of not wanting to let go of that. But as Jing was just saying, if you're still holding on to someone from the past, your momentum is never going to be moving forward, because part of your energy is always going to be holding you back. So it's going to be draining your energy and preventing you from fully progressing in your life and going with the flow of life, because you're anchored down again. It's that root chakra, it's the anchor that going, no, I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to let go. And life is trying to move you on. And this person may or may not come with you at a certain point in the future. I'm saying may or may not, literally, who knows? But you're never going to find out while you're holding on to the energy of the past, because that's actually gone already. That's gone. Okay. The past relationship with this person has gone completely. And I hate to like break it to you, but that actually is the truth of it. There is, sure, it could change into something else in the future, because sometimes people go off and then their paths cross again. But we absolutely, like, it's almost like it's not even really a choice to let go of this person, because that they are actually already gone from this moment. They may come back in the future, but so we just have to come to accepting that and finding within us, where is that resistance, where is that clinging? You know, is it like we were talking about last week? Is it the child who's like, no, I don't want to lose the person, you know, that was in front of me. They made me feel really good. I don't want to be on my own again. I don't like how I feel when I'm on my own. Is it that child again? Maybe. And in which case you need to check in and be like, oh, okay, that's the child. It's not actually me, and just detach from it a little bit.
Right. That's beautiful, Amy, what you just said here about the child, right? And it's actually very true that in many aspects in our life, we have that inner child that comes out to, you know, what's the word? To act like a child, basically, you know, to resist changes, to throw a tantrum, or, you know, to resist many, many things, right? And with the changes that we're talking about here, especially in the context of relationship, it reminds me of the fact that it's actually the same energy that a lot of us apply to many other changes in life too. And, you know, it's actually essentially the same thing, just manifested differently. The more we are hanging on to, you know, the old energy, the more we are resisting the changes by staying not changed, like by staying in the old pattern, whether it's habitual pattern or, you know, you name it, right? Whatever energy we're holding on to, the more we're actually feeding the energy into the old energy, feeding into the past, right? So, you know, whether it's like ex-boyfriend, past relationships, or I don't know, like certain things certain pattern you want to get out of, or even certain like old limiting beliefs that you want to, you know, step out of. But if we're not taking any actions towards, you know, the changes, accepting the changes and taking the new actions, we're actually just feeding into that old energy, right? So like the longer you hang on to the phone, for example, right? The more you believe that this is the phone for me, right? I'm going to use this phone forever and ever and ever. And then you in that process, I just had the aha moment. While you're hanging on to the old energy, you're actually missing out. You're missing out on the evolution. You're missing out on the happenings, all these things, that the wonderful things, miracles and everything that are happening around you, right? Well, why I have this aha moments, because I'm like, okay, if in the case of technology, I know a lot of people who are not fans of the new technology. They always say that I'm not good with computer. I'm not good with like the apps and technology. But then, you know, in the whole process while I'm helping them, observing them, I'm just like, you know, the more you hang on to the old technology, the more you're resisting the high-tech changes, the more you're missing out on the world, right? There's so much that's happening on the interweb. There's so much that you can do to bring into your life, so much that the technology can contribute to your life. But while you're hanging on to, like the old technology, say the analog phone or something, while you're resisting using computer, you're actually missing out on the opportunities to make your life better. So, like, I don't know how the technology, thank you for using the technology as an example. And it just gave me an aha moment right here. It's the same for all the changes in life, right? Like relationship, while you're hanging on to someone, or like Amy said, some parts of the core of you is somehow still attached to that person. Think about what you're missing out on. You're missing out on the whole picture, the full picture of what is happening when you can actually renew your energy, when you have room, have space for new potentials and things to come in. So think about that.
I think I love that with the technology.
Let the FOMO, yeah.
Because it's so true. You've got the maybe some of the older generations who are like, I'm not switching from what is it, cassette? No way. Or it'd be records. Sorry, records, right?
Yeah.
Records. No,
vinyl
records are the best way to listen to music. I grew up with records. This is going to be how I listen to my music for the rest of my life. And the rest of the world goes tough. We're shifting, right? And then you can't buy your music anymore if you just keep holding on to this. You can't even get, you can't get cassettes. You can't easily get records. You can't get new stuff on records very easily. You have to pay a heck of a lot more money to do it. Just because we can't let go of these things and just move and just change with it. It's interesting actually mentioning the older generations. I was also having this thought, like, why is it so much harder? A baby has that big change and it just adapts. And as I was saying with Louis, he used to just adapt super quick. He's still very, very adaptable kid. Like we've just moved into this house and he's got like so many friends, but still this one was tough for him. And there's still times where he remembers his old friends and he gets sad. So, and then if we think about as we get older and older and older, it's even more difficult to change. I'm getting it's almost like a ball rolling, right, of moss, and it's gathering more moss and it's gathering more density as we get older and older. We're gathering more trauma, more memories of all the times we've lost everything and felt pain. And so we're really super old and we've got that really dense energy in the lower chakras that's just like, no, I will not change, and it's just holding us down and preventing us from flowing with life. But I think particularly since I've been going through this awakening journey, I've learned, sure, I'm not going to lie, it's still tough to go through changes. And before I made the changes that I made this year, I was terrified. But I've started to notice when there's those periods of my life where it feels like everything's just in chaos and everything feels just uncomfortable and everything's just shifting and changing and I'm just losing random stuff. I've started to learn to be like, this is great. There's going to be something new coming, something more amazing coming. So this is just shifting my perspective on these times. It's just given me like I said, just a simple shift in perspective there to look at it a little bit differently and immediately lose some of that resistance to it and actually get a bit of excitement about what could be coming next. The last two relationships that I was in, it was very, very tough to break up with them. But it's like maybe the next one will be even more beautiful. Maybe I'll learn so much more about myself than I did with my two exes. That or maybe it will even be the person I'm supposed to end up with, who knows, and just get a bit of like excitement and openness to it, just to lose some of that fear and that resistance as well.
Definitely. I love that. And, the law of energy is that where the attention goes, energy flows and the result shows. So the more you're expanding your energy on the possibility of, the future relationship is going to be even more amazing, the more it will happen, right? The more I found that
maybe it will happen one of these days on the show, right? Maybe.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So
if I'm open to the possibility and I've let go with love to all of my previous relationships, then at least now I'm open.
Exactly. That's right. I know it will happen because, you know, you are fully expanding your energy on the unknown new possibilities, right? Like we can't plan those things, but we just know that, you know, going forward with optimism and with like positive, unlimited possibilities. And that is where our energy will expand. The energy will only expand where your focus is, right?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and once again, for those people who are hanging on to the past and not letting go, that's where your energy is concentrated. Just think about that, right? And sometimes people tell me that, oh, they're experiencing all this like difficulties in life. And I noticed that a lot of the times those people who are constantly going through like hard times is because that is where the focus of their energy, the focus is actually always on the problems, right? On the, you know, oh, I'm getting sick, or oh, this person is doing something bad to me, right? And it's actually very obvious, you know, for people who are very sensitive to energy, it is very obvious where everybody's attention is on. And it's, I know it sounds simple, but then the thing is, I noticed that, you know, all of us would somehow sometimes, you know, subconsciously focus our attention on the things which don't serve us. And then when we become aware, especially when we increase our practice on the intuition, you know, we can train our intuition awareness. We become aware of that quickly and catch ourselves and go, wait a minute, why did I focus my energy on that the whole time? Right? So we have to quickly shift our energy onto the opposite of, you know, changes are good. Okay, changes are bringing you
like
infinite. Yes, exactly, infinite possibilities, right? Be your own master. Yes, we all need masters, but also be your own master and be your own savior. Wow, this is a bit big.
I think the one, so I think my final bit of advice is that just for those, because again, I'm not saying that you're going to feel comfortable, even if I'm mostly now used to change and mostly, as I said, just feel excited about it, but still does not mean that it doesn't feel super, super uncomfortable, right? Just like, you know, the baby going through the birth canal, not comfortable, right? But it just does it. It goes through it. It's not going to be comfortable. That will feel like there's chaos and you know, winds changing and all of that. But yeah, so it still could be tough. But it's about our perspective on these times. So I think if you're noticing that you're having a hard time with things in your life, I would say, one, recognize that, okay, who is and ask yourself, who is the person, who is the entity that doesn't like this change? Who is this entity that is afraid of change and resisting change? Because it's not you, as essence of you is not the one who's resisting change. You, your fundamental spiritual essence, is fine with change. So check in and think, right, okay, well, what might be going on here? It's a time that we can examine, maybe like we were talking about the inner child, or is there a cord that's still connecting us to someone from the past that we need to cut? And look at it that way, because you as a spiritual being is absolutely fine, just flows naturally with the energy. And I think the second thing really is to like I said, yeah, it's not comfortable, but in those moments you can open yourself up to change more and accept it by just asking yourself maybe one simple question is, right, even if you got fired, even if you broke up with someone, a change happened to you that was beyond your control, and it feels like, this just happened to me. This was like, I'm going in a victim mode. Life just took a dump on me and gave me this horrific change in my life. All of a sudden, how terrible. Ask yourself just one simple question. Is it possible? Is it possible that this could be good for me? Is it possible that something more amazing could come along? Is it possible that I learned something about myself through this change? I'm not telling you to brainwash yourself into saying this is good, but just allow yourself to open up to the possibility that this will be good for you. Because if you take a look back in your life and look at all the changes that happened, were any of them, would you even label any of them as mistakes anymore? Even like maybe the really, really terrible ones, could you look at that, any of those past changes and think, I didn't learn something about myself. I didn't find someone new. I didn't get a job that was more suited to me or something like that. I didn't open myself up to a more beautiful experience. So I think that would probably be my main tips on
Beautiful. That's perfect. You summarized this perfectly, Amy. This is amazing. I hope everybody took notes of that, right? And like the main word, like all you have to remember, like if some people are not very keen of taking lots of notes, or I'm sure all of you have gotten a lot of like good a whole basket of golden nuggets from today's discussion here, and also from what Amy just said. Just have to remember to yourself that change equals infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
Change equals possibilities, right? And be excited about the possibilities, the good possibilities, right? Like I remember before we end today's beautiful life, I do want to throw this out. I'm sure everybody has heard this many times, that people always ask, like, what if I fail, right? Like, oh, what if this fail? Ask yourself this: what if you didn't fail? What if you fly? Right?
Yeah.
What if you succeed? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why do we always go straight? I mean, like I said, the mind is to be negative and skeptical, right? So what if I fail? See, that's a skepticism and negativity, right? What if I succeed? What if I fly? I don't fall. What if I don't fall? I fly,
exactly.
Right? So you got to keep asking yourself this,
Yeah,
like what Amy said.
Possibility. What if?
Right.
What if? Exactly.
What if the change is good for me, right? So go from there and expand your energy, expand your horizon, and expand your energy there. And I'm sure the man of your life, the woman of your life, the dream career, the business, the money, the abundance will come in. Yes, you have to truly shift your energy there.
The thing is that it will, and it will happen a lot easier the more that we let go of the damn phone, right? Or we let go of the one that's dragging us back, right? It's almost like I had this visual earlier of like, imagine like you're clinging onto this rope, right? You're like, oh my God, if I let go of this rope, I'm gonna die, right? I'm gonna make you suspended. You can't see what's below you or anything like that. You're like, I'm gonna let go of this rope and I'm gonna die. And maybe like underneath you is like the universe has just created your dream life, right? And it's just like you're like 1 meter off the ground, actually, in reality. And there's your dream life, and the universe is like, but it's here. Just let go of the damn rope. It's here, everything, And then you're like, no, I don't want to let go. I'm gonna die. It's scary. But if we just let go, and then we just can fall into what the universe has for us next. Because the universe is the infinite creator. Just look at the Big Bang. Nothing that we have right now, nothing in your entire surroundings didn't come from change, didn't come from something new, a new creation, change in matter, change in thoughts, change in technology, nothing. We just didn't get any of this without it. So just maybe contemplate that for a second.
Yes, that's beautiful. And let go of the damn phone, right? Don't miss out on the whole, don't miss out on the whole world. Don't miss out on the whole new world just because of that old phone. You can't let go of.
A Disney song,
right.
It all comes back to Disney, really.
I know, right? Oh, Disney is actually very wise, even though they do have some very superficial stuff, but there's always some wisdom there too, right? Sure. So yeah. All right, I guess that's it for today, and thank you so much everybody for tuning to join us for our Women's Wellness Wednesday with Amy and Jing. Yes, do this sign. We need to get everybody to do this sign. All right, and let us know where you're tuning in from, and also let us know what topics you want us to talk about. And while we are saying goodbye, I see this beautiful drawing from Louis. What is it? I can't really see properly. It's very beautiful.
It's a ghost rider.
Oh, wow. Oh, now I see it.
Cool.
Wow, Louis, you're quite an artist.
Thank you.
Wow. We should get Louis to draw a portrait of.
You could draw our logo for it.
WWW, right? Yeah, he can do yeah. Amazing. Do a logo. We'll put a logo up here next time.
It's the logo for his gang.
Right. He has a gang. Wow. He's Justice League.
Right. Okay.
Right. All right. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Let us know what topics you want us to talk about and write it in the comments. Okay. And we are always here to give the best support and value to you girls, women. Okay. If you're men watching, we'll welcome you as well. Okay. So thank you so much, beautiful Amy. Always a pleasure hanging out with you. And see you next week. And see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.